If you have ever gone through the loss of a loved one or some other really significant trauma in your life, then you know that afterwards it can feel like nothing could ever hurt you anymore. Because really, what could be worse than that thing that we have already gone through? After my mom died, I really felt like no matter what happened, no matter how bad a situation was with a person or just a situation in life, it did not matter to me, because compared to what happened with my mom, it was nothing. And while this is definitely not healthy, it is a normal trauma response that you get when something really horrible happens in your life. And now, 2.5 years after my mom passed away, I was proven that yes, we are still vulnerable, and yes, there's still the chance to feel really sad about something other than that event that happened to us. And then when it does happen, I really have to tell you, I was so not prepared, because it came out of nowhere, and then when it was there, it was really difficult for me to go through these emotions. Because firstly, I was so angry in a way to be able to feel those emotions again. When you have this shield around you that you feel like nothing can touch you anymore, it becomes a lot easier to go through life because you're not being as vulnerable as you normally would have been. If there's something that happens between, let's say, a friend or you and a partner, or something happens at work, you feel like, well, it just doesn't matter to me. But the truth is that those things do matter. And yes, while not being vulnerable at all feels amazing, long term, it is definitely not sustainable. And when that moment is going to come where that wall is going to break, because I do hope that for you one day it is going to happen as well, then please don't be surprised. And in a way, we should almost feel grateful for it. Because yes, while in the moment it was hurting so much. Honestly, those past 4 weeks have been so difficult for me, but now I am so incredibly grateful to be able to feel like that again, because I believe that it was the first time that my heart really opened a bit after what seemed quite a long time. Oh, okay, I feel like getting a bit emotional now, because it is strange to all of the sudden just be able to feel vulnerable again to anything other than that traumatic event. Of course, I have felt sad about what happened with my mom, but other than that, nothing could really get to me. And when I realized that something could get to me, I just didn't like it because I liked being not vulnerable to anything. And when it did happen, I just really did not appreciate my body being able to feel again. And I want you to know that it's a good thing. I know it feels terrible, but it is actually a good thing. I think that we should be appreciative of the fact that our body can once again open up to even being sad. Yes, it's not the nicest emotion, and it would have been better if it was something else, but those things are part of life. And to try and not just completely shut down is long-term really the healthy option. It really is natural for things such as pain, sadness, or anger to come back eventually. And the best thing that we can do is to meet ourselves with compassion, understanding, and try to not push them away completely. Because the best way for us to work through an emotion and to accept it and to heal from it, rather than just push it to the side and have it come out eventually in very different times and ways in our life, we can just deal with it in the moment. And that way we are going to be able to much better come out the other side. Now, for example, those past few weeks, they were tough. But honestly, I really just went through the whole thing. I accepted the fact that it is the way it is, even though I didn't like it. I lived through those emotions, and now I feel even stronger than I did before. The other thing that I also realized was that I was upset with myself for being sad over something like that. I don't really want to get into what happened exactly, but it just really got to me. And when it did, I felt angry at myself, because in comparison to what happened with my mom, wow, I am still a little bit emotional, guys, but in comparison to my mom passing, it was nothing. And so I just realized how I was angry at myself, that I would let myself feel that sad. And I think that it is so important that we allow ourselves to feel sad about whatever it is that comes up in life, and that we can't always compare it to the worst thing that's ever happened to us. Because yes, that thing obviously was more horrible. Oh gosh, I miss my mom. Oh dear Lord. I do miss her so much. And I have also realized how this thing that happened has kind of pushed this to the side a little bit, I think. And now I'm really talking about her properly for the first time in a bit. Okay, I have to catch myself. This is emotional. Gosh, I'm telling you guys, I feel like it is never really going to go away completely. Now, what I was trying to say is that I think, yes, what happened to us was horrific. However, we do have the permission to feel vulnerable and upset over other things in life too. And we really should just allow ourselves to feel whatever any situation and any moment needs. That is what we should be doing. And funnily enough, the second I started to accept it and to really just allow myself to feel it, I felt a lot better. So often I think it's the fight against that emotion that is really causing the biggest trouble. And of course, don't get me wrong, perspective is always good. I am the first person to say that it is really healthy sometimes when we think we have problems to look at people who may have even worse problems and think maybe my situation isn't that bad after all. I think there needs to be a healthy balance, because sometimes it is really good to snap yourself out of a really bad state, and it helps to look at people who really have so much less or who have gone through so much worse and they are still doing amazing. I feel like it does help. But at the same time, we are still allowed to feel sad, even over something super small, even over something that seems silly to you at the time. However, I feel that, as always, balance is the key. Yes, try and accept your feelings and your problems and your emotions. And also on the other side, realize that after all, sometimes it is not as bad as it feels or seems like. I have found it very interesting to just see this development over the past few weeks, because when you feel like you're immune against pain for such a long time, when it does happen, it hits you like a brick. I really felt like my heart wasn't able anymore to feel vulnerable, or at least maybe a little bit, but not really. There was always this little bit of protection around it that just went, well, nothing can hurt me. And when that moment is going to come that you realize things are going to be able to hurt you, and there's going to be situations and people that are going to be able to come close enough for you to have to break through this barrier. So when it does happen to you, I want you to be prepared. And I also feel that it has been a really big step in this grieving journey. My goodness, guys, I'm getting emotional. Because it's been such a long time, and I feel every step that happens really gets to you a little bit, because you realize how much time has passed. I really just cannot believe it's been 3 years nearly that she's not with me anymore. And every single day, I just don't like it. I wish she was with me, and I wish I could talk to her about everything. And every time that you reach one of those big milestones, like this one, for example, you realize that there's so much time that has passed, and you realize that it's going to be more and more time. And it's not a nice feeling. I haven't actually done an emotional video in quite a while, so I do apologize. But maybe this is part of everything that I just shared. Maybe I just had to break open a little bit again. And lastly, here's a couple of things that I really do recommend you for those times when you start to feel that first sadness, or maybe you've already felt a few of them. First things first, complete distraction. Honestly, the first couple of weeks, I was literally just watching series, distracting myself, talking to my friends, and just ignoring the problem at hand completely. You shouldn't be doing this for too long, but I think sometimes in the beginning, when it just feels too difficult, that is the only thing that you can do, distract yourself. Of course, you can dive right into the working through it if that is something for you, but I felt like for me, it has always helped to just ignore for a little while at least. Just ignore it as long as you need, and then get back into your good habits, because we do not want to throw a pity party for the rest of our lives. So when you feel that you have ignored it for long enough, get back up and go back to your good habits. Even when I was feeling really sad still, I started to get back into the gym, and I did not feel like going to the gym at all. I didn't want to be there, but I thought to myself, why be sad in my bed when I can also be sad at the gym? And slowly but steady, I would get back into all my good habits, and I'm finally feeling like myself again. So it is really going to help you to do those things even when you don't feel like them. Just push yourself to do them. Get slowly but steady back into it. You don't have to do all at once. If you continuously add those good things back into your life, then eventually you are going to feel so much better again, exactly like I am doing now. And honestly, if you had seen me in these past few weeks, you would not have believed that I'm standing here right now talking like this, feeling like this. I didn't believe it for myself, but you can always prove yourself wrong. You can always get yourself out of these negative states. And lastly, and I have been telling you guys this throughout the grieving videos all the time, and this goes for every other problem as well. Do not just ignore the feelings. Yes, in the beginning that's great, but then when you start to get better, just feel them. You can cry, you can scream, you can do whatever it is that you need to really just feel them. Don't just push them away, because it is not going to help. And I can guarantee you they are going to come back up later in life, whether you realize that it's those feelings or not. But any feeling or event, trauma that you're just going to push away will come back in some form or the other, whether that's physical pain, whether that's sickness, whether that's emotional pain. So please, the number one thing to not do is to just push it away and pretend like nothing happened. And if you have a trauma anniversary coming up, which are also incredibly difficult to handle, then watch this video that I've linked up here, because it is massively going to help you through that.